So anybody who's been around for a little while knows, back when we got started, dude, we went every day. So we're looking at this and we're talking about 4 days in a row now, 5 after tomorrow. I mean, I wasn't here for one of the days, but we're used to it, man. So we're glad everybody else is joining us. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. And what's inspiring us to do an extra episode today is Shay the Great. Shay the Great gets his own dedicated episode because of one thing. He's the player of the week in the Western Conference. All hail Shay the Great.
Yeah, man, this is just exciting. You know, you see what he's done this week. October 25th, he played against the Clippers with a win. 37 minutes, 33 points. October 27th, will win against the Clippers there. He had 24 points. I'm sorry. Los Angeles Clippers, we won. He had 37 minutes and 33 points. Los Angeles Clippers, the second time, he had 34 minutes and 24 points. And then, of course, Dallas game, put in 41 minutes and 38 points. He's just had a phenomenal season through 6 games. I know there's a lot of people out there who say, hey, you know, this is only the first 6 games, and you guys are already talking play-in. You're already talking all-star games for Shay. Like, listen, when you see a player that is as focused as Shay is right now, and he missed preseason, you got to stop and wonder, like, how good is he really going to be at this point? And that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about it. We want to dissect exactly what he's done in these 5 games that he's played. He's missed 1 game, and the first 2 games that he played in, we lost. But he's came back at a roaring fashion in a way that we have to stop and just appreciate, because, you know, his plus-minus numbers in the last 3 games are 23, 12, and 20.
Yeah.
Plus. So it's just amazing what he's done. It's amazing that he's off to the start, because last season he averaged like 24.8 points a game. This year, man, I just feel like there's something special in the air with Shay.
Absolutely. And it's only been 5 games, but I went ahead and put together all of his made baskets, all of his assists, all of his steals and block shots, just to really capture it. It's been 6 games, but only 5 with Shay out there. And, you know, we might as well memorialize this moment. So I'm excited about that. Hey, before we get going too much on Shay, which this is all about Shay, so we'll get on Shay's dick here in a second. But last episode, or a few episodes with John ago, now it's been a few, but Friday, I think, I told you, no, it was Wednesday, I apologize. So I told you that I had something that I got in a package that was worth more than an autographed Derek Jeter rookie card, right? And it was free. So that's the Derek Jeter rookie card.
Yep.
Right there. Here's the other thing, and I got 2 of them, okay? It might surprise you, but that's a Miguel Cabrera autographed rookie card.
Yep.
And that is actually worth more than Jeter's.
Damn.
Well, anybody who wants can fact check me. It's a Royal Rookies Miguel Cabrera autograph card versus Derek Jeter front row autograph card. This came packaged from my grandfather. It's a bunch of my dad's old stuff, and he didn't realize there was something in there that, you know, the pack was honestly like a small package, like 6 by, like, you know, 6 inches is not a small package, I'll say that. But it was for like, you know, a box of valuables, you know, and there's at least $5,000 worth of trading cards in there that he was unaware of. So anyway, there's that.
Even if he had those, he would ever know how to sell them. So
right, you're right. But somebody would have taken them from him. But yeah, last episode I pointed at a George Mikan autograph, but when we went back and you couldn't see it. The angle was all wrong. So there it is, guys. George Mikan autograph.
Nice.
We talked about it in the last episode. He just got his number retired by the Lakers. I've had that since I was about 14 years old. So, you know,
hell yeah, dude.
20 plus years. And I'm like looking at it, and he's the first superstar in the history of the NBA. In a big way, he's why like LA ended up with a team, right? And in my opinion, like winning championships made the Lakers. Like, does anybody ask themselves why the Lakers are known? You know, why they're in LA? You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of lakes there. It's because they were from Minneapolis and they were stolen, and the people buy things like that. So anyway, George Mikan finally gets his number retired. Pretty cool. And I am done bragging. So you go, bro.
No, you're good, dude. Everybody likes to know about 6-inch packages.
Let's talk about Shai, bro. Let's talk about Shai.
Dude. Again, what's happening with him this season, I have to stop and I have to marvel at it. His shooting percentage for three-pointers, that's gone up substantially. I mean, I think he's at, last season, he was like at 30% even. Now he's at like 36.8. And even then, like we said, he's missed preseason. So that number is bound to go up. That, as he continues to play and get more shots out there, that number is going to continue to climb. I think he could end up in the season, at around a 42% for the year. That's going to be insane, man, because if you look at Shai's game in the last couple of years, and, that's what we're doing right now, is we're looking at Shai's game and picking out what he's done so well these last couple of years. And you look at his 3-point percentage and you're like, okay, what he's at, 36 this year, 0.8, 30 last year. He was at 41.8 with Chris Paul, right? But that's the Chris Paul effect. You know what I'm saying? And then he was at 34.7 in 2019, 2020. In his rookie year, which he didn't, play a substantial amount of, I guess he did play in all 82 games and averaged 26.5 minutes, but he also shot 36.7%. So as he's been taking over the lead for Shai, and that shot started to get, contested more, or Shai for Chris Paul, and that shot started getting contested more, it's dropped because it's inevitable. So watching it climb back up right now makes me happy because I know he can do 42% from 3-point range. And that's what I got to say is that once we get him to that point, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be averaging 30 points a game because you're going to have to close out on him. You can't let him open. You can't let him even have a breath of fresh air on that 3-point shot right now. And that's at 36.8. So as that climbs, teams are going to be forced to keep on going out. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means more drives by Shai. And that's simple. The more people go out to guard him, the more he's going to go around them. And that's what we like. We like to see this type of style of basketball. And it goes back to what Mark and I have said with Shai, is that the way that he controls the game, the way that he takes shots, there is no bad shots that Shai takes. I mean, once in a while you'll see a shot be like, ooh, that's questionable. But it's a heat check shot, man. And to me, I've always believed, and I've always even taught this with my kids, if you hit 3 or 4 shots in a row and you decide you want to jack a shot out from distance just to see what's up, I get it. You've earned it, Because sometimes that's going to go in, and then all of a sudden it's over. That person's going to go off for 15, 20 points in a row. And you got to let players have that opportunity and feel that way. So I watched Shai this year, and I'm watching what he's doing in the 5 games he's played. And, knowing that he's the Western Conference Player of the Month, or week, for this last week was special because he deserved it. 3 games, 3-0, averaging 31 points a game. It's just insane, man. Like he's truly something special right now, and I can't help but get excited about what's going to come in the future for him.
And I'm going to say something that, first I said something last episode that I have to defend, but it was completely debatable. I said Shai's 3-point shot is broken at this moment, and the stats would argue that I'm wrong. Okay, but I'll also say something else that is going to be just as debatable as that, and I'll argue both things here in a second. Shai hasn't even had a good game yet. And here's what I mean by that. Okay? Shai has done what we know Shai can do.
Sure.
So up to this point, yeah, we look at that 31-point average and you say, okay, that's higher than what we're used to, but the 7 assists, no. The 5 rebounds, no. Right? We're used to those numbers from Shai. Okay? And also, he's done it relatively efficiently, but he hasn't had a game where he's gone 12 for 14.
So he hasn't had a breakout game.
Right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about with Shai. When you look back at the end of the season, how many games do you look at and you say, this guy's had, how many good games does any player have? But what that means generally is exceeding the average.
Sure.
Right? He's had that game against Dallas. We put up 38. I can't think of anything. I think that's his season high at this point, right? Sure. 38.
He's had a couple 33 games too.
Right, but that was overtime minutes, right? So just that's about average. What happens all of a sudden, and this goes back to his 3-point shot at this moment, in my opinion, it being relatively broken. He's knocking down the shots when the shot clock is late, and he's like, he can't think about the shot. But early in the shot clock, when teams back off of him and he goes into his shot, it has that extra hitch. It feels slightly uncomfortable. And that early in the shot clock confidence, when teams are like, I'm going to treat you like Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Like, we know you're going to try to get to the basket, and our goal is just to take away the driving lanes and keep our hands down like this. When he starts knocking that one down, but of course, that's what we say about everybody on the Thunder. Oh, when Giddey starts knocking down the threes, when so-and-so starts knocking him down. But my point is, like, Shai comes out and he has a game where he starts out 3 for 3 from behind the arc. So they start running at him. Then all of a sudden, like, all of these contested finishes that he's been having all year are less contested. It's one-on-one finishes instead of finishing in a crowd. And then he'll put up a game where he's breaking his career high. And I could see him break his career high time and time and time again this year, maybe, unless, you know, he puts up one that's so big that he's only breaking the 42 points. But to me, 42 points, that's his career high right now. That's going to be something that he is around, I would say, probably 20 games this season. He's going to be somewhere in that 38 to 40 range. So one of these games where all of a sudden, like you said, the heat checks start falling, then we're going to say, okay, he had 10 games this year where he was over 40 points. Yeah, he put up that 38 and it was a big game, but this was Isaiah Joe game. We have other games that we define, like you said, as a breakout game. So everybody who's listening can just calm down. I'm not saying SGA isn't good. I'm just saying his best play is in front of us. We know that because we've seen this type of stuff from him before.
Absolutely.
Right? We're used to this level of play. The rest of the NBA is like, whoa, this guy is ready to go from the get-go. And it's like, he always has been. But this year, he's saying, like, 30 points a game, that's nothing. And we haven't seen that from him yet. So, but, I mean, we watched, you know, his Canadian basketball games as much as we could.
Yep.
We saw a different level of player with offensive confidence.
Bro, it's
demeanor.
the only way of explaining it. The game slowed down for him to a point. Like last year, we saw the game was slowing down for him. You know, it was slowing down, and we could see at points you're like, holy shit, if this is something he can continue to do, you know, like 30 points a game is gonna see what's happening. But the game slowed down to him in such a way that it's like he's in fast forward motion. Everybody else is just in regular motion, and it looks strange because like a lot of scouts and a lot of NBA experts out there are like, whoa, we weren't expecting that. We've seen glimpses of this with Shai, but to put 5 games together like this for a 24-year-old young man, this is big. This is big because he just signed a big contract. He wants to be an all-star player. And if he could put 10 games, 20 games, 25 games together like this, like stats like this, man, I mean, it's insane. He's averaging 1.2 blocks a game, 2.4 steals a game. He's averaging 7 assists, 5 assists, 1.2 offensive rebounds. That's one of his biggest increases I like to see because in the last few years, he's one of the guys that gets back on defense. But now he's crashing that board. I love that. Free throws, he's taken 100%, guys. He's going, what is he right now? 100% free throw, 36.8% three-pointers, and 49% field goal. Those are stellar numbers. I mean, if you're any NBA person, you're like, holy shit, like this is interesting. Like I have to take a step and be like, okay, what else can he do? Well, we know what he can do. And as he's putting everything together, his defense, his offense, he's going to be known as one of the most premier guards in the league. And that's why we got frustrated when all these rankings came out with players that were so far ahead of Shai. And it's like, what do you guys like? Do you guys just not understand his game? And when we're talking to other podcasts or other people that are on podcasts and we're hearing what they're saying, like, oh, well, Shai's really good, but he's not a star player. It's like, do you guys just not understand? Do you guys not get the level that Shai can play? And that's what's so truly spectacular is that he understands the game in such a way.
Well, you know why? Because, bro, we kept paying attention after the game stopped mattering and when Shai kept going out there after the All-Star break and Giddey wasn't playing. And a lot of people who didn't see it, right? They didn't see that he went out there and he was putting up 30 every night. And he was doing a great job. We weren't getting a lot of wins, but we were watching him really assert himself offensively in a different way. But what I want to ask you, like, if you were to define, like, why is it that Shai is able to get to the basket? Like, why are his drives so effective when everybody knows that that's what he's going to do? Understanding that people would, in a very similar way to Russ, they much rather him shoot the three than drive, right? But he's still able to do it, but it's different than Russ. So explain why.
Yeah, so his body shape, right? The way that he walks and the way that he goes, he can lull people to sleep really easily. Like sometimes, when you see a boring offensive player out there, you kind of like take a step back or whatever. It's a mental thing, right? And the way that Shai goes with the ball, he's just like slow, boom, and he's gone. Because all he's doing, right, is Shai's observing the guy that's in front of him. He's waiting for that one step that he knows that he can go by him. And through the course of a 20-step, 30-step interval, right, he's going to make that mistake once or twice. And Shai is just so locked in right now that he can watch that mistake happen and he can get around him. Now, it's not always about that. Like sometimes he uses his physicality, especially if he has a smaller guard on him. He uses his physicality. So once he gets half a step past him, he's able to use his hip. He's able to use his arm to defend and push the guy off. And he's able to get to the hole. And one of the great things about what he's doing too is he's not going all the way to the hole right now, is he's pulling up at the free throw line in the beginning of the games. All right? He's getting that corner shot done. And once he's getting that in order, people are going to have to step up, right? So the second you see him get into that lane and then step out on a side step for a corner of the free throw shot, right? And he hits it, the next time that center has to step up and help more. He can't keep on letting him hit that shot because he's going to keep going to it. And the second that happens, he gets to the lane. It's all about Shai being patient and utilizing the scoring at all three levels the way he's using it right now. And I think the way that he is able to observe his defender and really just watch him, it has to do with everything. It has to do with Dort. Because watching Dort play defense on other guys, and especially if Dort's been playing Shai on defense during practice, right?
He has been.
And he has. You have to watch Dort's feet, and you have to watch him so closely because Dort doesn't make very many mistakes. And the players that Dort is being forced to play against, right, are the best in the league. So, of course, Shai's going to learn how to get past these other guys that aren't as good as Dort. And that's why I keep going back to it over and over again. What we've seen with Shai is a massive step up. And if he continues to do this, it's not going to be about, is he going to make the All-Star, all right? Because we know he will make the All-Star this year if he stays healthy. It's about whether or not he's going to put himself in that MVP type category. And this is why. If he's able to take this team into a 6 seed or a 5 seed, right? Surprise everybody. There's no way that people aren't going to stop and say, this guy deserves an MVP vote. No way. And that's how I think we're going to see it. Now, I understand there's a lot of Oklahoma City Thunder fans that when I say, I think, Shai could bring us to this level right here, they'll be like, oh, fucking idiot. We don't want to be at that level. We don't want to make the play on. We don't want to do this. We want to get another draft pick. Listen, it's the culture. You teach teams how to win, okay? And if we take this tanking opportunity, quote, right, call it the Victor Tank opportunity, we take that opportunity and we miss out on what Shai can do for this team without Chet, guys, if Shai can take this team to a top 6 team in the West, we know adding Chet, it doesn't matter what this next pick is for this year. It doesn't matter the 2023 pick. That's just a person that we're going to add to this team that's going to make us better because guess what? We have everybody we need because everybody we need is going to be around Shai and made to help Shai out. If Shai can get that MVP type caliber player, we have all the rest of the pieces to make Shai continue that MVP run, not just for 1 year, not for 2 years, but for the generation.
Absolutely. And shout out to Chris on YouTube, and he wrote a really well-written message about
guys, check that out, guys.
Check it out. I almost read the whole thing. I'll read it tomorrow. We have a full podcast tomorrow, but Chris,
I read it. I read it out, and I was like, I mean, Chris is one of those guys. I really enjoy talking to you guys.
Good.
If you haven't touched base with Chris, on YouTube, guys. Just go and read what he says. He's incredibly intelligent, and the stuff he says really gets me hyped up, fired up, and I just appreciate he's one of our listeners, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think, like, in the end, you have some relevancy there, and like we could watch this team trade out our pick when it becomes apparent that it's not going to be good if that case comes along.
Yeah.
We won't trade it. I don't think if there's a chance that, a good chance we'll be in that top lottery. We'll probably not trade it anyway. But this idea that like we zig when everybody else zags and vice versa, right? That's our value, and we'll figure that out. But let's get back to Shai, and we'll talk more about that later. But so here's the thing, right? When I was younger,
yeah,
right, I had a day I got to spend with Clyde Drexler, and
nice.
He asked me, he's like, "What do you think was so hard to guard about Michael Jordan?" And that was a tough question for me, right? I'm like thinking about it. Probably because you can jump over anybody, right? You can fly. That's my first thought, right?
Sure.
And what he told me was that no, it was his quickness. That was the hardest thing to guard about him, right? Like, and I thought about it for a long time. Like, I literally haven't ever stopped considering it when I watch. And what we're talking about with Shai is somebody who's not necessarily the fastest player out there, but his change of speed, change of direction, that lull that you talk about, right? That quick.
That lull is in his shot too, man.
Right.
Like it lulls people to sleep.
And then there's a sudden burst. And the thing about it is it's not a Russ-like burst where he's like leaving people in the dust, right? He uses just enough burst to get around them and lay it up. Just enough burst to stop where he wants. And they're going full speed and they can't stop with him. Just enough burst. So while we look at him and we don't think, oh, Shai is the quickest player in the league, what I would say is this. He is in a different way, right? His change of speed and change of direction, right? From where he's going before to where he accelerates to, that's the quickest in the league. And that's why he can keep getting to the basket. His sidestep, his ability to, like you said, recognize what the defense is doing and where their limitations are, and then go to the place where they can't guard for the shot that they can't stop. And we watch it all game. And you watch, I hope you've been watching as the highlights have been playing, like the other coaches are sitting there scratching their head. They're not sure if they should yell at their players for not, getting in position or just tip their hat to SGA for hitting an unbelievable shot. They don't how do you stop him? And that's what everybody's coming away with. And that's why I think we're going to see more teams put pressure on him to shoot that three.
Yep.
And then we're going to see him really step into that role because we know he's an improved three-point shooter. And if they dare him to, he's going to find his rhythm incredibly quickly. And then they're going to be a really big problem because if he starts at a game 3 for 4, 4 for 5 from behind the arc,
it's over.
50 points.
Wait, listen. I look at Shai's game, and last episode I talked about Josh Giddey tying the record or breaking the record in assist in the game, right? By Scott Skiles, who had 30 assists for Orlando one season, I think in '94. I look at Shai, and I constantly say, like, if there was a player that was going to get into that Devin Booker scoring or Kobe Bryant scoring range for one game, like I look at it and I say, what player do I feel like would do that? Well, you go through the NBA and you can, this guy would score 50, this guy would score 50, this guy would score 50, right?
Sorry, my dog is having a dream.
Oh, no, you're good. But as far as Shai, man, the way that he's putting everything together, I don't think he's one of those guys that you can put him out that he's not going to score 50 multiple times in his career. And if he does that and he puts it together and he has the weapons that he has out there, so it just can't be like, you know what I'm saying? Like Kobe, when he went off, right? It was great. And he has some other weapons around him, obviously, right? But not like Oklahoma City's going to. We'll still have guys in double digits and all this other stuff because Shai's going to be out there passing the ball. But I think Shai could be one of those guys that gets 60, 65 points in a game. Maybe even 70. because it's about
Right. That
the
list is
three-point
very
shot.
short.
It's about driving. It's about getting that mid-range shot, and he has all those tools to be able to do it.
That list is incredibly short of players who have gotten there. And he has a lot of balance to his game. But
I'm not saying this year.
Yeah, but in the end, the way you get to that level of scoring is that some of your teammates earn respect so they can't just leave you.
Yep.
And then, obviously, he's taken his game to this incredible level, but the level he'd have to take it to pull that off is a different level. And
Sure.
that's one thing that we look forward to seeing, like you said, like a bit of that smooth scoring approach, a bit like Devin Booker from the shot it's got to come. But that's a progression thing. The thing about it is, how many players who really don't rely on the three-point shot in today's NBA can get out there and put up 40? Right? It's an unusual thing.
Sure.
I mean, there's a few of them, but with Shai, he definitely is willing to take that three. But his game is predicated on getting to the basket, and he can easily put up 40 points. Everybody understands that about him. And like I look at it like D Wade had that ability.
Yeah.
Iverson.
But Shade, though, like, yes, here's the thing I love about Shai is all the guys that you just mentioned, right? How many times in their career do they have 38 and 9 assists? 38 points, 9 assists. Not many. Okay, let's just put it out there. Not many. All
yeah,
right?
It's either 9 assists or 38 points.
That's the thing that's so beautiful about Shai's game is that he's going to be out there scoring 40 or 50 points and have 9 or 10 assists. And everybody's going to be like, what the fuck? Because that's who Shai is. It doesn't
It's
matter
not
if
like
he's on
Luka
fire. He's not
either.
saying like Allen Iverson, give me the ball and clear out, motherfuckers. I'm going to go out there and score 50.
Or like Luka, which is, like, I'm going to go one-on-one until...
Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Yes, that too. But, like, I'm going to go one-on-one until I, get somebody to get into the lane on defense, and I just, spread the floor with great passes. Like, I get it. Like, I love Luka's game. But it's very... his stats are extremely predicated on him having the ball more than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Shai, I feel like he might take the first drive to the basket on a possession, but after that, it's popping around the perimeter, and somebody else is going to do something with it to try to attack. It's not like, okay, he drives, kicks, the shot's not there, reset, go get the ball, Shai, do it again. That's what Luka does.
Well, and I went back and I watched this last game against Dallas, right? In that last 4 minutes of the game, you know that Isaiah Joe's on fire, right? Shai's driving down the lane. Everybody's collapsed. He's got Isaiah Joe wide open. And what does he do? Fadeaway jump shot or jump shot.
Right. He had that shot.
Like, people are like, why didn't he pass the ball? And I get that. But here's the thing, though, is that was the right shot at the right time. Okay? The kick out to Isaiah Joe would have been the wrong shot. You know why? It's because it would have been too fast. Like, it was about winding down the time just enough. Yes, we were trying to score quickly, right? Yes, we're trying to get buckets up there quickly, but it's not about that. You have 4 minutes left. All you got to do is play good defense and take quality shots. And Shai knows how to do that. He knows when to pass the ball. He knows when to keep the ball. He knows the score. So he knows that, hey, we need to hit 2 buckets, 2 layups, 2 jump shots. And we need to hit 3 threes. That's what we need, right? Or 4 threes. So what does he do? He does that. He makes sure it happens. Boom. 2 times the bucket. 2 kickouts. Next thing you know is we're sitting there in a 4-point game. And that's
I don't know what's going on with my dog, bro. I don't know if you guys can hear her, but
no,
she's
you're
having
good,
a
man.
Great dream.
And I think that's what's so powerful about what he does is that the way that he thinks, the way he understands, the way that he, gets everybody else on the same page, bro. He plays with so much heart and passion, man. It's insane.
For sure. That's what it's all about, man. And his ascension, really to be one of the premier players in this league has been unbelievable to watch. And I'm really grateful for the vision that Sam Presti had when the rebuild took place. I mean, bro, I'll never forget when I found out we got Shai in that trade. I mean, I'm a Thunder fan, and I don't really watch college basketball. So, but I knew he was going to be special.
Bro.
Like, you just, you couldn't help but watch him play and say, like a lot like J-Dub right now. Like, no moment is too big. He drives when he needs to drive. He shoots when he needs to shoot. He makes sure the defense suffers every time. But then it's like, he has so much more to offer, right? But if you start out there, then you can become a star much faster than you think. And that's why everybody was like, yeah, he looks limited right now, but like, you got to understand, like, being that good as a rookie is so rare. But sure, we're conditioned to think that we're going to see players like LeBron. Those are the ones who take it on, or like Luka. But occasionally you have what we have here, which is a diamond in the rough, transforming the game. And an old school approach in a perimeter-oriented game. And the team game around the Thunder is what gets us so pumped up, bro.
Man, I'll tell you, is when I found out about the trade, since you brought it up in 2019, I remember, because I watched Clippers games, I just remember being like, why not? I'll watch a couple of Clippers games. So I remember the trade when it went through, and I'm like, wait, we got Shai? No way. Because he's one of those players that makes you stop and wonder what he could do,
Right.
And I remember sitting, and this is way before our podcast I've even ever started, and I remember sitting down and saying, there's only two players that are young in the NBA that I would give up Paul George for. Only two. And it was Toronto Siakam. I think Siakam, I forget how you say his name.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam, whatever.
Yep.
And the other one was Shai. Those are the only two guys that were semi-rookies or rookies that I would have been like, these are the guys that I could see building a team around. All the rest of them were like, okay, yes, they could be good. And that's what made me excited was I had that list already. And in my mind, I'm like, these two guys are going to be the best players from that draft class or draft class before whatever Siakam came out. And I'm like, everything else, it was just like, this is insane. Like, how did we pull this off? How did we get him and all these draft picks? And, as news started breaking that, it was about Sam Presti and how he was able to capitalize because he recognized that Kawhi wanted to go there. And without Kawhi, PG3 doesn't want to go there. And he recognized that they were willing to pay for both superstars in one trade. And what did it do to the NBA? It completely changed how everybody trades for superstars. Completely changed. Just like Sam Presti was one of the first people that put, a first-round draft pick, right? He put stipulations in it. If it goes between 1 and 4, it's my draft pick, right? Sam Presti has always consistently looked at stuff and consistently tried to change things, and that's why we're sitting at
somebody
a place
fact
where we
check
have
us
somebody
on that.
like Shai.
Tell us we're wrong. We like being told we're wrong.
I heard this like 5 years ago, so yeah. I don't even know if it's right or not, but I did hear it, and I'm pretty sure Sam Presti was one of the first GMs to ever start utilizing.
I'll tell you this: he was the first GM to make the whole organization buy into the philosophy of scared money don't break none. That is a fact.
Bro,
and that's what we're talking about, man. We're talking about
brilliant, man. It's brilliant how we have somebody like Shai.
Yep. And this whole team. And we're looking at it and we're saying we've been on a 3-game win streak without the last 2 draft picks. So, like, this team has legitimately been grown through the most important thing when it comes to success at any professional sports, which is internal improvements. This team has been driven by internal improvements and savvy trades, and adding some draft capital as those trades early on pay off without going in, like rushing and stuff like that. Here we are. We're watching this, and we really appreciate the NBA for giving Shai credit. I mean, it's fucking dope. He deserves this. I know I was all thinking he's player of the month, but my understanding is it's only week. But I'm also willing to go ahead and just state that he's player of the month for October. And anybody who wants to disagree with me can go ahead and do so in the comment section. But other than that, I believe everybody listening here, they get it. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. It's why we're here doing a short, fun episode about Shai. That's it. We're not gonna. This is about Shai. You know, this is why we love him so much, and why we consistently look at him as one of those guys that is going to rule the NBA. And it goes back to a couple years ago when we were first starting this podcast, and we're sitting there and we're hearing people and the announcers say it's not about how many championships, or it's not about when Shai's going to win championships. It's about how many championships he's going to win. You know, people have recognized that Shai has that it factor for so long. And now we get an opportunity to see that. And I'm excited about this, man. I'm excited that Shai's going to be the one that's going to lead us into this 2030 generation, man. And it's going to be fun, dude, because this is a team that is going to be one of the most exciting teams in the nation, in basketball, all across the world. People are going to start coming and listening to this podcast like they have. I mean, we have people coming and listening from Australia, a ton of Australians, a ton of New Zealand people. We have Ireland coming up there. We have, Mark, everywhere, man. I look at our list of people that are listening to us. It's like 45 countries long. It's insane. And it feels so good that people are listening to us from all over the world, because this passion that we have, this desire that we want to see this team do well, is being shared. And it's a community that we're building. And we just really appreciate everybody listening because it really does mean a lot to Mark and I.
That's it, bro. That's our Shai episode. Shai gets player of the week, player of the month, player of the motherfucking year, player of our hearts. God damn, we love this guy. And really, I mean, we all just need to occasionally take a step back and just recognize how special it is to be in the presence of someone who can go out there and do things like average 31, 5, and 7. And it feels like, yeah, we've become accustomed to him playing at that level. I mean, it's one thing for somebody to do that. It's another thing to be like, yeah, that's not really unusual for this guy. Sure. We need to just recognize we've been here before, and we were fearful when we entered the rebuild because we didn't know how long it would take us to get back to where we are now. So thanks for joining us. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow. We got a post game. We're talking about the #1 pick versus Oklahoma City Thunder. Join us. We'll see you then.